Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Kristen. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today we are in Oasis Springs and I am building some townhomes. Townhomes are one of those things that I absolutely love to build in The Sims, and I love the fact that they came out with the residential rental lot type. I think it's been about a year since For Rent has come out. I am not 100% sure, but I think it has. And that is absolutely crazy to me that it's been out for that long and I have barely even used the rental lot type. Like, that is absolutely insane to me. I used to always wish and hope that they would add a feature like that, and here they are. They added it and I have barely used it. So I am going to put the effort forward to build more of these. Hopefully you guys enjoy them. And of course, if you enjoy this video in any way, then please leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. I build a lot of different types of lots. I build a lot of residentials. I do modern, I do suburban, I do islands, farmhouse, I mean pretty much you name it and I build it. I also build the occasional community lot as well. And that is something that I am trying to practice more with. I'm not very comfortable building commercial lots in The Sims, but I actually have built one and I am needing to do the voiceover for it. That is actually going to be posted next week, so stay tuned if you're interested in seeing that. But as far as today's build goes, we pretty much have the exterior put together. I at least have an idea of how I want these townhomes to look. They all look very, very similar on the outside, if not exactly the same on the outside, if I'm being totally honest. But on the inside, each of the floor plans are relatively different. I mean, I wanted them to be a little bit cookie cutter, but I wanted them to have their differences at the same time. I feel like that's a pretty realistic touch. I mean, most of the time, townhomes look very much the same on the outside, but on the inside, they all have like different bedrooms, different living rooms, like the sizes and the amount of bedrooms. And so I kind of kept that in mind as I was doing the floor plan of this house. Plus also, they're a little bit different on the outside. So I kind of had no choice when it came to the floor plan being different. Here in just a moment, I add an additional room onto the left side of this. And my main reason for that is because it was like really blank and I felt like it would look better if it had an additional like side on there. It gave it a little bit more dimension rather than just a long blank wall. And I also did not know how I wanted to paint the outside of these townhomes. So I ended up putting this rock on the bottom, and then on the top I just did like a plaster, I think it's called, or stucco. Either plaster or stucco. Either way, it's very, very basic on the top, which I enjoy. It kind of complements the rock on the bottom. It's like not too much, but it's not too little either. I really like how you have the stucco at the top and it's very bland. If bland's the right word, it's very, I don't know, basic. And then you got the rock on the bottom, and then the fence is that same stucco, and I think that looks really good. And as far as the pavement goes, the actual driveway I used, I think that's from base game. I'm 100% sure it's from base game. I don't just think. And it almost looks like it has like gravel and then like red brick outlining it. I don't use that pavement very often, but I think it looks really good, especially in this case. It complements the other tile around the build. And then I also use some pavements from the Greenhouse Haven kit. I am pretty sure it's from the Greenhouse Haven kit. It's at least from one of the kits, I do know that. And I love that pavement. I think it's honestly my favorite in the game. It looks really good and it has really good detail. If you look close to it, then you see like little pieces of grass like sticking out in between the pavers, and that is so realistic because you know that happens in real life. And then I use the basic like base game tile that you see in a lot of Mediterranean style builds, especially in Oasis Springs. And I also made the front door in like a little tiny room, a foyer I think is what you call those, and I noticed you find those a lot in Oasis Springs and more Mediterranean style builds, so I wanted this to look as accurate as possible, and I think they turned out really good in the end. I know they're pretty basic, But that's kind of what I was going for. Townhomes a lot of times in real life are very, very basic. And so on the insides you will see that I used a lot of the same like wall paint, and that was done purposely because, you know, when you rent houses you don't do a lot of painting or else you will have to repaint it a basic beige color before you leave, and it's kind of a pain. Or you just lose your security deposit, you know. Your security deposit that you will probably lose anyways because, you know, rental agencies, they find any little thing to keep that security deposit. If you know, you know. So I kept that in mind as I was painting the walls and the floors on the inside. They're very much the same. I did actually furnish one of these townhomes. That's another thing. I did not furnish all three of them. It just takes way too much time, guys. And I run out of ideas when it comes to furnishing because, you know, I like to do all of my builds very cluttered and I like to give my Sims personalities. That's hard to do when you have 3 different families at the same time. I start running out of ideas eventually, if I'm being totally honest. So I furnished one of these and I furnished it pretty good. I kept in mind the type of family I thought would live here. And then the other ones, I did put like the toilet, sink, and shower in all the bathrooms, and then I added the kitchen counters with a stove and an oven. And the sink, obviously. And then I put a washer and dryer in each of the garages as well. So pretty much what you'll find in real life townhomes and other rentals is what you'll find here in these townhomes, and I really like that. I like the realistic aspect to it, and it sounds like really fun to download this off the gallery, and there is one already finished, so you could use that one if you choose to, or you can pick one of the other two and then furnish it yourself, kind of like real life, like you just moved into your very first townhome or yet again another townhouse and then you move all your stuff in. So that sounds really fun. I also almost put like a community pool in the back of these townhouses, so my thinking of that was that they have each of their own backyards that's relatively small, and then the backyards lead into the pool area. The reason why I didn't do that was because the pool was just so like long and skinny and I didn't think it looked very good. And so I did away with that idea. I was kind of thinking, okay, they'll just have really long backyards. But what I ended up doing was adding their own pools in each of their yards. And it's a pretty good sized pool in each yard too. And then they each have, of course, like a patio on the outskirts of the pool so that you can put like lounge furniture and a grill and whatever you want. And then there's also like a little yard in each of them too. I did want to make sure I put like at least a small yard in there, so if you have child Sims that live here, then you could add like monkey bars or a swing set or anything you want. And the one that I furnished, I did do the backyard as well, and I did have a kid in that household, so there are some kid stuff out there. And then you see that there's a gate on the back of the fences. That is leading to the back of the property, obviously. And then I put all of the trash cans on the outskirts of their house, and they each have their own set of trash cans. I was gonna do 2, you know, in real life. Most of the time people have 2, like a regular garbage and then a recycle. Well, the 2 just didn't look right. There's so much space that I needed to use, so I ended up doing 3 each. And so, you know, sometimes in real life people have 3 too. So they have the regular garbage, they have the recycle, and they might have one for like yard waste and stuff. So that was my sort of train of thought on that. Each one of these also has a balcony out of one of the rooms upstairs as well, and there's a door leading out to the balcony. I also have a ceiling fan out there. You know, this is Oasis Springs. It gets very hot here, so I thought a ceiling fan outside on the balcony was like the perfect idea, and that sounds so relaxing to like sit out there and just enjoy being outside and relaxing, maybe have a drink, and that just sounds so nice. And I think I made the master bedroom be the one that has that balcony, you know? That just makes the most sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense to have like a child have that bedroom, right? That sounds so dangerous. Or like even a toddler or infant, that just sounds so dangerous. I might have like a teen in that room. I feel like that'd be cool, especially for like storytelling purposes, and you could put a ladder on the side of it and they could like kind of sneak out, you know? And so that's the only two that really make sense to me. Other than that, it just sounds kind of dangerous. Honestly, it's hard to even trust teenagers. They make really stupid decisions, right? But luckily, this is The Sims, so nothing dangerous like that happens. They can't just fall off the balcony. Honestly, that did give me kind of a good idea, though, for like a type of death in The Sims. That sounds a little morbid, but like not falling off the balcony, but you know how there's ladders in the game? Like they should have created a death where like your sim could fall off the ladder. I feel like that would be pretty fun because you wouldn't know every time your sim used the ladder if that was the last thing they'd ever do or not. Kind of like the vending machine, but for the ladder. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it probably would be kind of annoying. Like, let's say you have your favorite sim and they're your only sim, or since they're your favorite, you don't want them to die, right? And then all they did was use the ladder to go up to a treehouse or whatever, and they died. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would cause more problems than necessary, but I do love playing Sims like that where you aren't completely sure if your sim is safe or not. I mean, they could literally die at any moment, and I think that's fun. It makes it unpredictable, which, let's be real, The Sims can be very predictable sometimes, so having a little bit of unpredictability sounds so fun to me. And why was it so hard for me to say unpredictability? It took me like 5 seconds to say that whole word, but yeah, I guess it was a little bit out of my vocabulary. But we are now finally starting to furnish the inside of this build. So as you guys could see, the floor plan of these townhomes, they gave me a hard time. It took me way longer than it probably should have for me to figure out the dang floor plan. I don't know what the problem was. It was not agreeing with me this day when I was building. It just wasn't, but I finally got it done. I think the problem was that I was trying to do it the same at first, and I quickly realized that was not possible. The outside was just different enough to where the floor plan had to be different. And how this kitchen looks, I did the other kitchens the exact same, like the same color and everything, and I like the way this kitchen came out. I like the little like U-shape island right there, and then I put the stovetop in the middle of the island, so it's kind of for like entertaining purposes. And then this is actually my favorite kitchen out of all three, even though they're the same. The only difference is the fact that this one has a window that like is right in front of the sink. See that right there? I absolutely love having a window right in front of my sink. I mean, it doesn't make a difference to the Sims. They don't care. They wash the dish in 2 seconds if they even have to wash it. Typically, we just drag it over into the sink. But me in real life, I would hate to have a sink that did not have a window. If it didn't have a window, then it has to at least be on like the island. How I have the stove right there, the sink would be there instead. Just so like you could talk to people as you're washing the dishes. I don't want it up against just like a blank wall. I feel like that would make washing dishes more miserable than it already is. And then I put a microwave in here, I put a waffle maker, I put some dog treats, even though I am now realizing that I don't think I added dog bowls in here. So yeah, dog treats with no dog, that doesn't make sense to me. So maybe if you download this, you could either just delete the dog treats, or you could add some dog bowls if you do want a dog. And then I put the dining table right next to the island. Yes, your sim is able to walk past the chairs. And then I put some bookcases on that wall over there. I didn't really know what I wanted to put there, so bookcase it is. When in doubt, adding bookcases, it always helps. And then a little bit later in the build, I realized that there was no computer in here, and I was not able to fit it in the living room or the parents' bedroom, and I wanted to use the spare bedrooms for like the child's bedrooms. And so I actually fit it in that little like nook and cranny right there in front of the bookcase, and it looks a little cramped, but I kind of enjoy that. And then over here is the entryway, and I didn't really do anything special. I think I did what I normally do. I add like the coat rack with some mirrors, and the chair would not fit, so I couldn't do the chair. And then I added some shoes. I mean, nothing really fancy, but enough to make it look lived in, right? I also added a front door floor mat to each of the townhomes, and that, usually comes with a townhome as well, or any like rentals. At least the ones that I've been in, there's always like a doormat. It's pretty basic, it's not decorative, but they typically have one. So I wanted to make sure I added one of those to each of the front doors as well as the back doors, and there's also a back foyer as well, not just the front one. I don't think the back foyer was really that necessary. I probably could have just made that an additional part of the living room, but I wanted to keep it similar to the front yard. And we are now decorating the living room. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in this living room. I would have preferred like a green couch or something, but the green swatch on this couch was a little bit too green. It was like an emerald green, and I more wanted like an olive green. I felt like that would have looked really good in this living room. So I ended up using a peach or pink color instead. It matches the tile very well, honestly. Although the couch style itself is not very ideal, it is the best couch in the game. Like, this is my most favorite couch in the game now. I'm so glad they added it. I wish they would add more just regular couches like this with like pillows on there, and have just blank pillows with different swatches and a lot more swatches, you know. But maybe in the future. I'm sure they will add more in the future. I feel like most new packs right now have a new couch, so I do enjoy that. I just wish that they would always add a love seat as well that matches the couch, because who doesn't put a couch and love seat in their living room, right? I hate using two of those 3-seater sofas. I feel like it just doesn't look right. Very rarely will that look good. I mean, at least to me, that's my personal opinion. You guys might really enjoy both of the 3-seaters together, and that's fine, you know? We can have different opinions. So I am now just adding ceiling fans to each of these. And ceiling fans are one of those things that I absolutely love in The Sims. I think it adds a very realistic touch, and it just adds like an extra detail that seems to be missing sometimes. But I don't use them as often as I would like to, just because you have to kind of pick and choose which lights look good with the actual ceiling fan, which can be kind of a pain. And then I also just honestly forget that they even exist until I see them in the catalog, and by that time it's just too late and I already have the light fixture that I want, and it's just more work than it needs to be to actually add the ceiling fan if I wait too long before I add it in a build. So when I remember to add it, it's a good day. But we are now outside, and I am adding a pool in each of the backyards, and these pools pretty much stay looking exactly like that. I did not do the round pools. I love doing round pools now that they added that, but it's kind of difficult to make them look good unless you take some time, you know, or plan ahead. And so this time I did not use the rounded pools. I thought the rectangular ones just looked better, and I am also adding these shrubs on each of like the walls in the backyard beside the very far left or right wall, depending on which townhouse you're looking at. It could be like the left one or the right one. And then I'm adding these white shrubby bushy flowers under each of the shrubs, and I was talking bad about these shrubs in my last video, in particular the white swatch. It's not my favorite, but it's the only one that really looked good for these townhouses, and so I ended up using it. And if you place them kind of under the bushes like that, I think it looks really, really good, and you can't really see the stemmy bottom of the shrubs, which I don't love. I know it's kind of realistic to see this roots on the bottom, but it just makes it look too open in The Sims for some reason, and so I do like adding those bushes kind of slightly under it. Gives it an extra detail, and it's a good way to use those bushes, because if you use those bushes by themselves, then they look too bland and simple by themselves, and they kind of look like pipsqueaks to me. Like, they're very, very small, and so I don't love them by themselves, but adding it with other shrubs behind it looks so good to me. I am also adding some of those like palm frond or fern type of bushes. I don't know what you call those. I need to figure out all the different terms for these landscaping, because I call them all bushes or all like palm fronds, even though I don't think they're actually called palm fronds. And yeah, so I need to learn like the terminology for each of these plants. And I also added like trees all around the property. I made use of different types of trees. And I tried to keep it Oasis Springs coated as much as possible. I didn't want to add like Willow Creek trees out here. It just looks too off to me. And so I tried to keep the trees you'll find around Oasis Springs on this property. And so I used like those real bushy types of trees, not the oak trees, but some other tree that I don't know the name of. And then I also used palm trees. Palm trees are trees I don't use very often when it comes to building actual houses, unless I'm in like Sulani or something. But even if I'm building in Oasis Springs, these palm trees, I don't know, they just are hard to use and they're hard to make look good, at least for me, and so I don't use them very often, but I did use them in this build and I did really enjoy the way that they looked, and it blends the property in very well with its surroundings, which is always the ultimate goal, at least for me. I honestly hate when my builds don't blend in with the world around it. I don't know, it's like a pet peeve for me. It doesn't always blend in. Like sometimes I want to build some random thing that has no neighborhood that matches it, and so that's fine, but I don't love doing that. If I'm building things that I, feel like someone might want to play in, whether it's me or one of you guys, then I like to make it as blended in as possible. I'm sure I'm not the only one that agrees with that, but we are now furnishing each of the bathrooms. I don't add a whole bunch of decorations. The only thing I add in each of the townhomes besides the one I'm actually currently decorating, I just do a toilet, a sink, a shower, and or bathtub, and then I also add like a toilet paper holder roll thing in each of the bathrooms as well, because that's something else you'll find in rentals. It doesn't matter really if it's a rental or a home that you're buying, you'll find a toilet paper like holder in there. That's just typical. And then I also add a mirror in each one as well. That's another thing you'll find very commonly in each like rental in real life are mirrors in the bathrooms. So I also added some of these vertical planter boxes out here on the back foyer. I didn't know what else to add here, honestly, and so I came up with the idea of using these vertical planter boxes. And so I was kind of thinking one of the Sims that lives here, they are very into gardening, just like most of my Sims are. Gardening is like a very typical thing in the Sims. I feel like almost everyone has their Sims into gardening. I mean, it's a good way to make money. Let's just put it that way. So I added some vertical planter boxes in the back foyer, and I also added some regular planter boxes in the backyard. But I'll talk more about that once we get back into the backyard. We are now over into the garage. So I did not add a car in any of the garages. I actually made it into a laundry room, and I also put a woodworking bench in here as well. I figured that was something else that one of the Sims that lives here is really into. And this is a very basic washer and dryer like laundry room, but I really enjoy how basic it is. And then I have a couple of laundry hampers. I also added the washer and dryer in each of the other townhomes as well, just so you guys have something that's in there when you do move your Sims in. And yeah, so that was the laundry room. Really nothing too extravagant. Very, very basic, but very good and clean at the same time. And we are now upstairs, and I am starting on the master bedroom first. And I actually realized I had one of the bathroom doors on one of the other bedrooms instead of the master bedroom, so that kind of upset me. This master bedroom does not have a bathroom attached to it. Both of the bathrooms upstairs are attached to just the hallway. There's no room attached to it, and so they're just like kind of like standalone. But I don't know, I guess not all master bedrooms in real life have their own bathroom, and so it is what it is. But there are 3 bathrooms in this townhome alone by itself, and so there's plenty of bathrooms where you could have a dedicated, like, master bathroom. It might not be attached to it, but that's fine. We can pretend. I was kind of thinking the bathroom that is in the front of the upstairs, it's very big. I figured that was the master bathroom. And here is the computer desk I was talking about earlier in the build. See how cramped it is? But I kind of enjoy that. It feels very lived in and pretty realistic too. I mean, there's a sim in each of these bedrooms, and the bedrooms are relatively small, so there was not a lot of space to have that extra computer, and so it's realistic to have it there in the kitchen. That is the family computer. That's the computer the whole family uses, which I think is really fun. I tend to put too many computers in my Sims build. Like, it's so not realistic to have a computer for each sim, I feel like. You know, when I was growing up, I for sure didn't have my own computer until I was like a senior in high school. And I grew up in the early 2000s, and so a lot of people, they had their own computers at that time, but a lot of people didn't. It really depended. It really was a different time back then. But I don't know, I feel like nowadays kids, they don't each have their own computer, right? Unless your parents are like pretty wealthy or well off. I feel like it's not realistic even today for each person in the household to have their own computer. So in The Sims, I tend to overdo it on the computers, and so I really enjoy that this family has to share the same computer. And if that is not enough for you as you are playing, then you could totally add like a laptop on the kitchen table, and your Sims could use that as well. That is something I actually do pretty often, especially if I'm playing in small builds. Like if it's like a tiny home or something, then I do have my Sim use a laptop at the dining table because that is literally the only place I would be able to use it. I wish that they would do an update where your Sim could literally use it as they're sitting on the couch. That's very realistic. There's a lot of people that use their laptops as they're sitting at the couch, and so that would be so fun. I just don't know how they would do that. It would have to be in the Sims inventory and then they just pull it out, and I feel like that'd be kind of difficult. That is a fun idea though, and you can never say never. They have said that they would never have horses in the game, and here we have horses. They also say we would never have cars, but I'm still keeping my hopes up on that one too. While we are on the subject of the future of The Sims, did you guys watch the 25th birthday video they sent out yesterday? Or at this time, as I'm recording this, it was yesterday, but it was the 14th of January. Did you guys watch that? I feel like there was a lot to unwrap there, okay? So I won't get into all of the details, but I do feel like they were dropping some hints for future Sims 4 packs in there. They kept saying the future, the future, the future, the future. I don't know. Are you guys thinking that we will get a futuristic pack sometime this year? I mean, I might be, reaching here, but they just said future so many times in that video that I feel like there is a chance. And I enjoyed the futuristic pack in The Sims 3. Did you guys? I feel like it would be, I don't know. This is probably very controversial, but I feel like it'd be better in The Sims 4. Please don't shoot me for saying that. I don't know, I just feel like the packs that they've come out with lately, they've been doing better with the packs lately, and so I have very high hopes for future Sims packs. Let's just put it that way. I don't know, I might be totally wrong, but they just kept saying that word future, and so it's a very big possibility that they might, and I would really enjoy that. I think that'd be fun. And if they do in fact drop a futuristic pack sometime this year, don't forget that I predicted that, guys. Don't forget. But if they do not drop a futuristic pack this year, then you can forget that I mentioned it. But enough about the future, let's focus on the present. So we are now in the child's bedroom. I don't know why I had a hard time trying to lay out this bedroom. I didn't really know what kind of Sim I wanted to live in this room. I knew it was a child, obviously, but I wasn't sure on like the personality and the skills and the interests of the Sim, and so I kind of just wung it. I found a cute bed with a cute swatch, and I knew I wanted to do skill building items, so I put a creativity table in here as well as a mental table. And once I added those things, it came together quicker. I also put a closet in here, of course, and I put some of these posters from kids' room stuff, and it has like that, I don't know, I kind of figured it was like a child star photo, like a Justin Bieber or some sort of teen idol, and so I put those posters in there, as well as like a little clock. I put the friendship making bracelet box thing and I also added a little diary there as well. And on this bay window, I love the bay windows in The Sims, and I love to add decorations on there if I'm not feeling too lazy because you kind of have to like move the window to add things on there and you have to guess the placement. But I was feeling, a little bit extra this day, and so I added some decorations on there, and I just added some pillows with that little stuffed animal, and I think it's so cute. I think it's some little like stuffed bird or something like that. I don't know. I think it's adorable. It came with the Love Struck pack, if I'm not mistaken, and it's so cute. And there was also a little stuffed animal that also came in that pack, and it was shaped like a heart, and it has like a band-aid on there. And it's so cute. I've used that as well in the last few of my builds, especially in like child's rooms or teenagers' rooms. It's fun using the stuffed animals as like the decorations. But we are now in the hallway, and I'm just adding a few random decorations in there. I put like a floor plan, and I put a big picture in there as well. It's like that picture from base game that has a pretty landscape to it. I should have added the Oasis Springs one now that I'm looking at it, but I added the one with like the greenery and the water and stuff. I also did the bathrooms, which are very basic. You guys seen them, nothing too extravagant there. And I also did the toddler's room. I was too busy yapping that I forgot to talk about it. And so it's very basic, and it's pretty gender neutral as well. I just use like blue and green, and I put a dollhouse in there as well as a toy box, and that is pretty much it. Very, very basic, but everything you need at the same time. Well, maybe not everything, because I am now realizing I forgot to put a toddler potty in here. So if you download this, you will have to add that. There's always something you forget, and this time it ended up being the toddler potty, as well as the high chair, but luckily toddlers do not have to have high chairs. In The Sims anyways. But we are now outside, and I added a little hopscotch thing on the pavers going to the back where the trash cans are, and I absolutely love using the hopscotch in The Sims. It's so cute and adds extra detail, especially for like family builds. And I also got a swing set as well as some monkey bars. So there's plenty of things for your child sim to do in this build. I love that. And I also added a bucket of water balloons. I put that in the far corner later in the build, like right before I end. That's like the last thing I added. And then I put the planter boxes that I was telling you guys about earlier, and some lounge chairs, as well as a table out in the back, and I put a grill on the side of the house. So there's so much to do in this little townhouse, and it turned out very good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if you did, please leave a like on this video and subscribe if you have not already. I feel like if you are watching this far and you have not subscribed, then what are you doing? Obviously you guys enjoyed it if you have made it this far, so I really appreciate it, and I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you all have an amazing weekend doing whatever it is you love to do, and of course staying safe. Happy simming, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. Bye guys.